Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So today we have good looking puzzle here and just a little bit of, I'm hoping a little bit of information first off on, I'm hoping that you can't hear a lot of the stuff that's going on right now. I've got a fan blowing because my AC is out and it's the southern United States. So it's pretty warm in here. I had to close the window because I've got roosters in my neighbor's yard that will keep crowing like crazy. And I'm probably going to have a phone call or a doorbell ring at some point in this thing. So if I do have to pause this, that will be why, because I'm trying to get a tech over here to fix this thing. So anywho, all of that said, and I don't have my headphones on because it's hot and they make it even hotter. So all of that said, let's look at this puzzle. Hopefully we can get this thing figured out with too much trouble. And then we can get a post out here soon. So this one is called Up and Down by Ridhwan. I believe I've done a puzzle by Ridhwan before on this channel, if I remember correctly. And if I've posted any puzzle on this channel from any setter, it's always a good puzzle. I haven't been let down yet on anything that I've posted. So anyway, enough rambling and enough backstory. Let's get into this guy and see if we can get this thing figured out. First off, let's go through the rules. And as normal, the link to the puzzle will be in the description below if you all want to jump on this thing and work on it yourselves. So again, up and down. So what do we have here? We've got normal Sudoku rules apply. So every row, and my brain might be a little, and my dexterity might be a little off today. Every row, every column, and every 3x3 box contains digits 1 through 9 once each. Along thermometers, digits must increase from the bulb ends. We have quite a few thermos. Let's look at this one. This is the bulb, this is the tip, this is the lowest digit on our thermo, and as we move up to the tip, the value of the digits increase. Then we've got digits joined by a white dot are consecutive, so we've got a couple of these. So looking on this one right here, these two digits must be consecutive. So if this was a 4, this could be a 3 or a 5. Then we've got digits joined by a black dot have a 1:2 ratio. So look down here as one of these examples. Whatever this digit is, this one is either half or double of it. X or 2x, x over 2, that sort of situation. And then not all dots are given, so we do not have any negative constraints that we can work with. And that's it. So it's really just those the two sets of rules here, the thermos and the Kropki dots, because that's what the white and black dots are part of sets. So anywho, let's jump into this one, see if we can get this thing figured out. And the question's going to be, where exactly are we going to start? Because none of these thermos is particularly massive. So it's going to have to be some sort of combination, I would think, of the thermo and how the Kropki dots are interacting with those. For example, this set of digits, one of them's on the tip of a thermo, one of them's on a bulb of a thermometer, but they must be consecutive. So they have to be semi-middling, and I say semi-middling because I don't know what the absolutes are on this one yet, but you clearly couldn't make this a 1 because it would force this to be a 2, and then you have to have 1, 0, -1. And I think the same can be said for 9s and 8s on here. You couldn't put a 9 here because you'd force this to be an 8, and you have 9, 10, 11, etc., etc. Now, I don't know if there's enough here to, on this particular one, to really be the start to this puzzle. Let's think about what are the options. Now, clearly 1, 2, 3, 4 is the highest this can possibly, or the lowest this can possibly be. And we said 1 will never work. And of course, if this is 4 as the bare minimum here must be 3. Now, is that of any use? And what's the maximum here? It would have to be, what, 6, 7, 8, 9 would work. So if this, we end up with a 3, 4, 5, 6, essentially what these could possibly be. And I think this one is not necessarily has to be the higher of the 2 digits. So I don't want to go into that round, but these would be 4, 5, 6, and 7. 6, 7, 8, and then the 6 can't necessarily be ruled out because of the location of this black Kropki dot either. I was thinking that, if there would be, if the max this one could ever be would be a 5, it would be 5, 6, 7, and blah, blah, blah. And then we'd have, let's say the 7 line up on this black Kropki dot. Obviously, you can't put a 7 on a black Kropki dot. So, but that doesn't seem to be the case here. So that said, is there a relationship here that is more stringent than it is here? Because we know on black Kropki dots, we have the only possibilities are 1, 2, 2, 4, 3, 6, and 4, 8. Now, we clearly can't have a 1, 2 situation because we can't put a 1 on either one of these two positions. We could have a 2, 4, and we could have a 3, 6, and I think we could also have a 4, 8. Now, clearly this one can't be the 8. Why did that 4 not? Oh, because I already had a 4 sitting there. Now, this can't be a 6 because we can't do 6, 6.5, 7. So therefore, this can't be 3. Now, this can't clearly be a 2, and it can't be a 4 either, actually, if we look at what our minimum here is, which is the 3. So this can't be 2 or 4. So we've got it limited down actually quite significantly. Now, because this can only be a 3 or a 4, it's going to say that this can never be a 4 itself. Therefore, this can't be a 3. And this could still be 4, 5, or 6, it seems like. The 3 or the 4, yeah, that doesn't quite do much here either, but we might end up having a bunch of, or being able to put in certain options, because, normally, again, I'm kind of rambling here. It's the heat, I'll tell you that. Normally, if we have a small, fairly small thermo like this, it's only 4 cells. It's very difficult to get any type of reduction into what you can put on it, but because of these other restrictions, that's not quite the case. So I don't know if we're going to get any use out of, even in this case, I don't know if we're going to get any use out of having these, every possible permutation of this thermo being an actual use for us. Yeah, it's not quite looking like it's going to do that. So it seems like even though we've gotten some good information from here, like these have to be from 7, 8, 9, it doesn't look like this is working to the point where we can break into this puzzle here just yet. Now, what about this guy? Again, we can't ever have a 1, 2. We can't ever have a 2, 4. So we're looking at a 3, 6 or a 4, 8 here. And this one clearly can't be the lower of the two digits. This is not 3 or 4, so this is not 6 or 8. Now, actually, that's interesting because it pulls up a 3, 4 pair, which I wasn't thinking we would get too much of, but we can remove that 3 at least. We can say this is not a 4. This can never be a 5. So does that do much for us? Now, it means this can't be a 4 because it can't be consecutive with the 6, clearly. So this can't be a 6 anymore, can it? Wow, that's kind of interesting how the combination of these works out to remove these options here. Because if this is a 6, this would bare minimum have to be a 5, and then clearly you can't have a 5.5 to get to a 5 here. So this has to be 8 now, which means this has to be 4. That's an 8, this would have to be a 9. Now, if that's a 4, it looks over here and says this has to be a 3, 6 pair. And that 6 is also going to tell us this is a 5 and a 7, which means this has to be 6 and this has to be 7. So we actually ended up getting quite a bit out of that. I'm surprised by it, and we have to have a 2 and a 1 to finish our thermo here. Now, it seems the most logical place, the next step here would be to look at this Kropki, because it's a black Kropki and we've got a 1 and a 6 pointing at it. We also have a 2 and a 3 that see this particular cell. The only thing this can be is a 4 or an 8. Now it can't be a 4 because it would be 3, 2, 1. 4, 3 here, we already have a 3. So it has to be an 8. Just make sure I'm correct. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 8, or 6 are the only possible options. We've already used 1, 2, 3, and 6. Okay, so that is an 8, which means this has to be a 4. All right, that got us a little bit more information. Now, these aren't super useful on this these thermos, I don't think. I mean, this is the more useful thermo at the moment. So let's maybe see if we can get something working with this white Kropki here. These are going to be our options. And there we go. Now, if this 6, 7, or 8, this can't be an 8, because if it's an 8, the lowest we can go here is a 7. We'd have to have a 7.5. So this cannot be 8, which again means this can't be 7. Now, this has to be from 5, 6, 7. We said it can't be 7, so it's either 5 or 6. This would have to be either 6 or 7. We already have a 6. So this is going to have to be a 7. Just make sure that all works out. Yeah, that has to be 7. And then this guy could be a lot of things. So I don't necessarily want to put that in just yet. Okay. Now, is there any, well, I guess we have a little bit of more information we can do on this row, because we have to put an 8 on it somewhere. We can't put it here because of this guy. So one of these must be 8. We also need a 9 somewhere, but we can't put, wait, do we just have a, hold on. We need a 1 and a 2. They can't go here because of these two. So there's a 1-2 pair in here somewhere to go with the 8. And therefore, all 3 of these digits are taken, so this must just be the 9, because it's the only digit left over. So these are from 1, 2, and 8. Okay. Now, sadly, these 9s and the 7s here don't affect this guy, but let's take a look at this. And probably it's going to be similar to what's going on up here. Again, we have a 5 and a 7 looking at them. We can never have those anyway. But let's look at these guys and see what we can find, because it seems like this, again, is going to be restricted in some way. It can't be 1, 2. It can't be 2, 4. It could be 3, 6, or it could be 4, 8, right? Because if it's a 3, 6, this is a 4, 5. So it'll be 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that doesn't break anything up here that I can see. Now, if it's a 4, 8, it's a... it's 4 here, 8 here, and these are from 5, 6, or 7. It could probably be any combination of those. Now, it does give us like a virtual 5, 6, 7 triple here, because we know we have to have at least one of the 5, 6, or 7 here to go along with those in that instance. Now, we don't know that that's the exactly what this is going to be, so we can't quite make that determination just yet. Now, again, we can't put the high digits here. These must be the lows, and these must be the highs. And let's go ahead and look at this one. It's the same concept, and I think it's going to be the exact same determination. But there really isn't anything here as well that's defining this, as there's nothing looking at this black Kropki that we can rule out any of these things. But I'm going to put this in because it should be the exact same concept. Again, we can't do 1, 2, we can't do 2, 4, so it's either 3, 6, or 4, 8, and it must be the low digit and the high digit here. Okay. Now, I guess another thing we can look at would be the 1s and 2s in this region. We know because we have a 1, 2 here and we have a 1, 2 in here, we know none of these could be 1s and 2s, so the 1s and 2s must go up here, and clearly this one here can't be a 1. I was wondering if this 2 determined, because if you put a 2 here, obviously this has to be a 1. But again, there's nothing looking at that just yet to say that that can't be the case. What about these guys? And I hadn't looked at this yet. And this is probably going to be something good to look at. These have to be from 4 and 5. No, it wasn't quite what I thought it might be. I thought we would end up with some sort of triple or something along those lines here, but that doesn't appear to be the case either. Again, this digit just this one. This can be quite a few things. Well, it can't be 1 and 2, actually, now that I've put these in here. Half the time, that's really all it takes for me to even see something, is just to put the digits in, and it starts to make a little bit more sense. But so I'm wondering if because there is going to be a relationship between these 3 digits, but I don't know if there's enough there to actually make that determination. Or is there anything more simple around this puzzle that we could start to pull something else out? And, well, maybe we do need to look a little bit better at this one, because we do have a little bit looking back in here. So what do we say? This is a 3, 6. This has to be 4, then 5. And if it's 4, 8, this has to be from 5, 6. This would have to be from 6 or 7, and it can't be 6 or 7. So there we go, I think. Let's just make sure we don't make a mistake there. If this is 3 or 4, this is 4 or 5. Let's just do the basics of it. This has to be a thermo. This has to be from at least 4, and it can't be any higher than 6. So this had to be 5, 6, or 7. Neither of these can be 6. This one can't be 7, so it forces this to be a 5, 4, 3, and 6. Okay, so that did work out in this instance. That's good. We could do a couple of things with Sudoku, but they're just going to be markings, I think, for the most part. But let's do them just so we have them. 5 has to go down here because of these guys. We have 6s looking up in here, so one of these is a 6. We've got the 7s that are looking up in here, so one of these must be 7. What else? We had something else that I thought I had. 4s. 4s are looking down into here. Yeah, so doesn't seem like there was much there, just for the marks. All right, so now if this is a 7, we don't quite have enough there. If this was a 7, this could be a 9. It clearly can't be an 8, but we can't rule out a 7 here. Now, let's look at, I guess we can look at this guy as well, just to make sure. 4, 5, 6 is the exact same thing that's going to happen over here, but we don't have these 2 digits looking at it. This would be 5, 6, or 7. 4, 5, 6, 7. We do actually have a quad going here. The problem is it doesn't actually exclude any digits from anything. Let's look at maybe this thermo tip, because we know it can't be 4, 5, 6, or 7. This can't be a 1, clearly. So we get 2, 3. Well, wait, let's just start easy. This is a 5, 6, 7 triple. So this has to be the 4, which means this has to be the 3 and the 6. And therefore this is the 5. That's going to then give us our 6 and our 7. And this can't be 7. This 6 is going to give us this as a 5. That gives us a 4 and a 5. Okay. Sometimes you just got to look at the easy stuff. This can't be 5. What else do we have then? So, okay, let's go back to here. I'd started this. I didn't finish this. I'm glad I looked at it and didn't think that this was what I had agreed that this could be. But this obviously can't be 1. It could be 2 or 3. It can't be 4, 5, 6, or 7, but it could be 8 or 9 as well. And again, let's look at maybe this column then, because there's a lot more that we've determined. So we've got 1, 2, and 8. This can't be 8. So we know one of these 2 is 8. But that doesn't quite give us enough. I mean, obviously, if this is an 8, this must be a 9. But if this isn't the 8, then everything is still in play over here. Well, we know one of these 2 is a 4. No, that's not going to do me much, is it? I'm just trying to look at my Sudokus because there's a bunch of stuff happening, but it's not necessarily giving us a complete reduction as we would like to have. So what is left over in terms of our clues? Maybe we just need to look at that sort of thing. I don't see how this thermo is going to do me much good. At least not at the moment. This Kropki and this thermo are the other two then. And again, this guy can't rule out that 2. Can't be 1. Maybe we just need to, let's just look at it objectively and see what's possible here. Can't be 1. It could be a 2. It can't be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. So it's either a 2 or a 9. Which means what? I don't think a whole lot. Because again, if it's a 2, this is clearly a 1. But this could be multiple other things. So it can't be obviously 3, 4, 5, or 6. It could be 7, but it can't be 8. Well, it can't be 7, actually. I just put a 7 over here. I wasn't paying attention. So this is either a 1, 2, or it's a 9 with either a 1 or a 2 with it. Okay, didn't quite get us there. This guy here, he just doesn't have enough info yet. This could be 1, 2, 2, 3, could be 7, 8. Those are all possibilities. So is there anything just base Sudoku that maybe I'm missing? And there we go. If I just click on these things, it finds things. 3s can't be any of these. This has to be a 3, which means this can't be a 3. Let's see if there's anything else. We continue with our 3s, I guess, then, because none of those can be, so this must be. And we've got 3 options over there. We've got 2 options here. Possibility of 3. None of these can be 3, so one of these is a 3. And that seems to be all we can do there. Let's look at the 4s, because we've had success with the 3s there. So this 4 now here is removed, so this must be 4. And we can put a 4 in this box because of all of these guys, so this must be our 4. One of these 2 is a 4. And one of these 2 is a 4. So it's just an X-wing left on 4s, which isn't giving us quite enough. How about our 5s? Okay, our 5s, our 5 markings, again, we could have gone back and looked at those. This must be a 5. And again, we're going to be left with an X-wing of 5s that are still standing out there. Again, more markings that I just hadn't picked up. So good thing I went back and started looking at basic Sudoku. What else do we have? We know one of these is a 6. We know one of these is a 6. Can we do anything up in this corner? It seems like we should be able to. No, one of these 2 must be a 6. One of these 2 is a 6. And then it was one of, okay, here we go. One of these 2 must be 6. So yeah, we can do something up here. We'll remove that, removes that option. Alrighty. So we're kind of getting somewhere now. Let's look at our 7s. We'll continue our Sudoku, the basic Sudoku stuff, and then we'll come back to where we're starting to really pinch down on either columns or rows. And hopefully that'll help us finalize what needs to be done. Now the 7s don't seem to be too useful. We just know that there's a 7 here and a 7 here. There's not a lot going on with 8s, but we can mark this, which means we already knew one of these was an 8. I just didn't mark it or pencil mark it. And we knew one of these was, which means we knew one of these was already. And okay, now here's a little something. We know none of these can be 8s because of this guy here. So one of these is, and that is looking here. So that removes, that makes this a 9, removes this from being a 9. So this can't be our 8. Therefore, this is our 8. And that's going to give us a 2 and a 1. So it kind of, I always find it interesting when clues turn back on themselves. Because as you saw in this instance, well, we know the reduction as to what this could be forces this to be a digit, and then therefore this digit now looks back here and tells us what this has to be. So it's kind of just a weird little circling back on itself to create the kind of intrigue there. That said, we don't go much further than that. Well, the 9s, though, we do know there's a 9 here. What else do we know? We know this is a 7-9 pair by Sudoku. We know this has to be from 1, 2, and 8 because it's all that's left in the row. What? I was going to look at this column, but I don't know that there's enough there either. We have the 7-9 pair plus the 4, 5, 6, and 8. We need 1, 2, and 3 in these final ones. But I can't remove the 3 from either of these, so that's not going to do much. Okay, so let's go back to our Sudoku one more time. And I think we were just about to get, we're just trying to finalize our 9s. And we can't quite do that. Okay. Well, now let's start looking at what we've got, the kind of remnants of our puzzle now, I guess we can say. Well, that 1 here, let's look at that first. It gives us a 2. Are these 1s and 2s going to do anything more for us now? This is a 1-8 pair, which means this is going to be a pair, and we're going to get this digit. These have to be from 7 and 9. Okay, nothing's looking at that just yet, but this is going to be what? A 2. Let's put that in. Now we know what these are going to be because there's only 2 digits left in this region. So these have to be from 7 and 9, so therefore the 7 must be the lower of the 2. That's going to finish off these guys over here. And we know what these 2 are by this row, so they must be from 1 and 4. We do not have something to finalize that. These have to be from 5, 6, and 8. This is not 5 or 6, so it is 8. Therefore, we can get rid of all of this marking that isn't necessary. And again, doesn't quite finalize things there, but I'm sure we have something elsewhere, like these 2 digits maybe. Well, this can't be 8 or 2 or 8, so let's put our 1 in here, and our 8 in here, and our 2 in here. And that's going to give us this digit as 3, so we can get rid of that marking. In fact, we're just going to get this digit as a 1, so that's going to split these up. That 4 there is going to finalize this thermo. Took a while, but we got to it. And what is the next best place to look here? How about a 4 in this row? Can't go in any of these, so it must go here. We could have looked at it from the opposite way as well. This is set now to 5 and 7. Those aren't quite sorted. These are 3 and 8. We do have a 3 here. That'll give us what we need. That 8 is going to finalize this. Let's get rid of all this stuff. It's not necessary anymore. And that 3 now does do what we were looking for previously. It removes this as an option. So therefore the 3 must now go down here. And this ends up just being that 1-2 pair. This is still from 1, 2, and 9. We can't rule out any of those other ones at the moment, so we're not going to. And we must just have a little bit left over to deal with here. This has to be from 1, 2, and 9. None of that's helping. What about this Kropki? Because it seems like it's the only clue. No, not only, but there's this thermo up here. This is the only one that's really doing a whole lot left, or has much purchase that we can get from it. Now we know it could be 1 or 2. It can't be from 3, 4, 5, or 6. Could it ever have a 7, 8? It seems like it can. But it can't obviously have an 8, 9. Oh, this can't have a 1 on it. Sorry, I wasn't even looking in the box. So this is not 1, 2, so therefore it has to be 7, 8. That's going to break a lot of stuff up here now. And it may very well be all we need. This must be that 2. These are not. That's going to remove this. What about these guys? So this 8 here is going to finish these 2. This has to be from 2 and 6, and we do have a 2 here, so let's put those in. That's going to finish up these guys, which is going to finish up these guys. And now we have to deal with these last few vestiges of information. Now the question is, how do we do that? Because I don't, I'm probably just being blind, but I don't see a given here. Now there must be some kind of interaction here between how this, something must break somewhere in this thermo and how it interacts with everything else. Because we have just a 1-9 pair here, a 1-2-9 triple here, and a 1-2 pair. So basic Sudoku is not going to get us to the finish line here. Now, if this is a 2, okay, that's it. If this is a 2, it forces this to be a 1, and this can't exist. So this cannot be a 2. So that is a 9. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and 9. And there you go. Congrats, you solved the puzzle. Yes. So that was fun. 31 minutes, not too bad. With a little bit of preamble, I would say, as to the state of my life at the moment. But that was a great puzzle. Everything really flowed well. Once I got into differentiating how these digits could work together on these Kropkis and the thermos together, everything just kind of flowed beautifully. And it was nice to have this little bit of a twist here at the end where it's not just Sudoku's going to finalize everything. You have to actually think about, I mean, Sudoku obviously did finalize it, but it's not just your basic, oh, there's a 1 looking at it and that creates that, but you have to actually think about what this digit could be and how it therefore interacts with the other digits to be able to finalize it. So anyway, excellent puzzle, as usual, from these things. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll see you in the next one. Hopefully a bit cooler next time. Anyway, thanks. See y'all.